Good morning, Thrive family, and I am here with three ladies who are going to share a little bit about what it means to be a mom, and especially what it means to be a mom during this time. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and these moms are going to introduce themselves to you right now.
Hi, I'm Terica Rieger, and I have two children. Evelyn is 3. She'll be 4 in July, and Corbin is, well, by the time this airs, he will be 18 months.
Thanks. I'm Callie Chilton. I have 2 kiddos. I have a daughter who will be 9 at the end of the month, and Lennox, who is now 7.5, or will be, let's see, in 2 days. Yeah, close enough. Close enough.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Thiel, and I've got adult children and 8 grandchildren, so I will have quite a different perspective than these
You have
young
all the
ladies.
answers for us.
Yes. Okay, so let's just start with, what do you think the best moment has been for you as a mom? Your favorite moment?
Who wants to start?
Well, I can say I'm going to be fairly generic in my answers because my children are adults, and I can't point out specific things that I may have when they were younger because this goes to the world, so you know. So the best thing that I've had as a mom is having all 3 of my babies and having all 8 of my grandchildren. That's the best moments of my life. Yep.
Awesome. I'm kind of not similar to you with the range of ages you have and grandchildren that I have, but the moments part, I couldn't really pick one. I really think like all the little moments that you have with your kids, that they kind of shine through certain things, and those kind of turn into the best moments, like things about your kids that you see pop up, like Liana. She's very observant about others, so just seeing her growing into that, and you know, if I do this, you know, what's this gonna be, what's gonna happen with that, or what will happen if this happens, something kind of like that with her. But with Lennox too, he's kind of my the one who never forgets anything, which is good and bad. But on the good side of it, he notices things that a lot of people wouldn't, or kids his age wouldn't. He will like notice his grandma's haircuts. He will notice if something's different in your house, like, oh, you got a new something. Like, he just notices all those little things and comments about them, and just is good about doing that thing. So little things like that put together, and just seeing their, you know, kindness coming through is kind of the best moment that I think for our kiddos.
I think, yeah, I can't pick like a specific moment because it's too hard. My kids haven't been around that long. So I think for me, it's the moment that they get something that you've been working on, like if it's a color or a number or, you know, whatever. One thing was Evie, surprisingly, like we'd been reading her Bible verses every night, just the same Bible verse over and over. And one night she just spouted off Romans 3:23 to us, and we were like, we didn't know you knew that. And it was such a proud mom moment. Like, we weren't even really trying hard to teach it to her. But it was pretty exciting. And just when they, you know, like Corbin's figuring out, I can say like, go get your shoes. And he gets his shoes and brings them to me. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. You learned how to get your shoes. So just when they have those aha moments, and then, yeah. I think just the first time they say I love you is really cool.
Yeah,
That's a pretty
like,
good one. Yeah, that's a pretty
Cherish
good one.
those
Yeah.
moments because
Yeah.
they soon go away.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I'm
love
soaking
every
it up while I can.
Yes.
love
All those
every
extra
minute of it.
hugs.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so what about the opposite spectrum, okay? The ones that you're like, oh, I think I'm a bad mom, right? Maybe funny moments. One of those. Rosemary, you want to go first?
Since my kids are adults, I'm not going to name them or be specific because I don't know what would happen. But anyway, generally when my children hurt or my grandchildren hurt, I hurt too, and sometimes more than they hurt. But you have to keep a positive perspective, let them grow, not interfere with their decisions they've made, good or bad. You have to be with them. And our children were raised in the church, so let God handle it.
That's good advice. That's awesome. Mine, worst moments, I really thought about just kind of not all silly stories, but one with Lennox. When we went on vacation, we were going back to a hotel room, and he happened to hop onto the elevator before anybody else did, and we were about like 20 floors up. So he went alone in an elevator, 20 floors up, and really like the first 2 floors you could hear him yelling the whole time, so it was
no.
slightly funny, and we were laughing, and then all of a sudden when you don't hear his voice anymore, it was like, okay, my stomach is hurting, like we've got to get to this crazy kid. So once we got up there, like another family was with him waiting, but I mean, being the mom, you're just like, I literally can't believe I did that. Why didn't I like jump onto the elevator in time? Nobody else was in there with him. It was just one of those like crazy moments where you definitely didn't feel good afterwards. It was kind of heart-wrenching for a little while. But luckily we could all laugh at that when we were done. So he was okay. He was safe. For Liana, she had just a crazy incident one time. We were getting ready to head home, visiting family, and she got bumped on cement steps and hit her head on the cement step, like the very last step. And it actually got bumped by her grandpa. So we had to go to the ER after that because she hit really hard. And yeah, that was scary. So I really wish we didn't have to have that moment, but she was okay. And it was all okay, but she was not very happy with Grandpa for a little while. So, but they're good now. They've made up. Takes her on horseback rides and fishing, so we're good.
So I was struggling with, I thought I knew my answer, and then I asked him what his answer would be, and it was funny because he said exactly what I was thinking, which is those moments that when I lose my temper with my kids, and I know that I'm not disciplining in love. I'm disciplining out of my own sin and my anger and my wanting to be in control and wanting them to obey and, you know, submit to me. And I have one child specifically who is very strong-willed, and so it happens a lot that I lose my cool. And it just, when your child looks at you and they see that, they have that afraid look, you know, and or when you hear them playing house and they start yelling at their kids and you're like, or their baby dolls, and you're like, oh no,
What did
that's
I just teach them?
verbatim what I said, you know, like I've very recently heard her say, I said, or I told you, and I'm like, oh, that's for me.
Yeah.
So those moments where I'm definitely not disciplining or, you know, even spanking out of love, but I'm doing it out of anger, my own sin, that's probably the worst moments.
Sure.
And other than that, hospital. Anytime they're in the hospital, that's the
Yeah.
worst.
We've been pretty fortunate, knock on whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
both
was
of mine
scary.
have had hospital, so that's, yeah, not fun.
No.
My 3 did, and my grandkids have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know.
Yikes. Yeah.
I think
Wow.
I own a wing.
Yeah. Yeah. They should have your family with you.
So for the last, I don't even know how many weeks we are in this
I didn't
this
even know what today
COVID,
was, so.
right? Don't even know what today is. So that's brought a lot of challenges. So that's what I want to talk about. What have you seen during this time that's been the biggest challenge for you during this whole COVID event where we've been quarantined and locked down, no school? You probably relate to that a lot, Callie. And so just talk through that. What do you think your biggest challenge is right now?
Well, my situation is obviously different than theirs, where my kids are little. So like their life hasn't changed a whole lot. They're not in school. So like in that aspect, they're not affected, but we do a lot and we go a lot of places and we, you know, have play dates and go places. And I have a very, very extroverted child. So in that regard, it's been hard. It's been nice in that they're not scared. They don't understand what's going on. They'll have no memory of this probably. But I have to use very basic. I basically just say like, oh, there's a lot of people that are sick and there's germs, so we can't go here or there. And you know, obviously Corbin has no idea. Evie kind of can understand, and she's to the point that she'll say like, Mommy, when everybody gets better, can we go back to the playground? Or she said to me just this morning, when the church opens back up after people aren't sick, can Corbin wear his bow tie? So, you know, they have a small understanding of what's going on. But for me, it's probably actually I'm more affected because my kids need me 24/7. There's no go play by yourself. It just doesn't happen at that age. So I have to be on all the time. And so my challenge has just been, you know, those moments where normally I would be like, okay, let's, you know, go have a play date at Angie or Chris's, or let's go, you know, here or there. And we had a few weeks where we didn't do anything with my parents either. And they're my like go to, come get your grandchild, I can't do this. And so for me, that's probably been the hardest, is just that the sanity of not having any time to myself. And even if I do have time to myself, I can't really leave the house. There's nowhere to go. So I'm still in my home all the time. So that's been really hard. Thankfully, Tim's been working from home a couple days a week, and that has been very needed because he's at least there if I need a 5-minute break.
Quick shower,
Yeah.
10, 20
right?
minute shower.
Or if he
Long.
hears screaming, he knows to come down and intervene.
Oh man, it's been kind of crazy for us. We're all home, so everybody's on top of each other all the time. It's just noisy. It's kind of chaotic at times. I think everyone in our house has had a meltdown because of just all the changes. We don't have a schedule, so that's hard. When you're used to your schedule, you're used to, we do this at school at this time, and blah, blah, blah. You know, with voluntary school, we try and do everything that their teachers send out, but I found that right now it's more of like a emotional mental battle for even our kids. Like, it gets really stressful. I don't want to do math anymore. I've done this for so long. I already know that, Mom. Can I do Liana's math? You know, it's just been kind of messy. So I try not to push that too much. And that may sound weird coming from a substitute teacher who would, you know, push their kids at school to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. But I think it's really important too, the emotional part of this. Like, take your breaks. At school you have recess, you have mental breaks as well, brain breaks. At school you have PE. So getting outside has been necessary. Thankfully, you know, we have a big backyard, so we can be outside quite a bit. We can let the dogs run, we can take walks, ride bikes. And then on days like today when it's kind of gloomy, we are inside, we're doing, you know, some of those, you know, school things, but we try to do just things that can kind of get your brain going in other ways, creative things. Yeah, it's definitely been kind of tough, but nothing we can't figure out how to manage. And I mean, the benefit, we've been able to get Anthony enrolled in classes online, so he's on to his master's program right now. Liana and Lennox have been able to see their friends from class, doing Zoom meetings with their teachers and their classmates. Lennox took like an art class with his art teacher the other day. That was pretty neat. And then for myself, I've been teaching Zumba through Zoom as well. So I've had my me time, which is helpful. Those little normal parts of your day that you used to have, that helps having that, even if it's virtual, but it makes a little bit of a difference.
Well, since my children are away, my older adults, we talk, have conversations on the telephone, and my grandkids, I text them. Sometimes I FaceTime them, and my daughter is here in town. And I must say, she's in the healthcare profession, so things are a little tricky there, but I still go to work, and it's an online business, so I just pull orders, and it's the same people, and nobody's sick, and I'm I make masks for other people, but I don't wear a mask. But I think I should start. But I also, I don't know, maybe I'll add an extra mask in there too.
For
So
you.
just me personally, it's affected me because I'm a very social person. I like to go a lot and just go here, go there, go everywhere. And I'm not home very often, but now I have to be home more. I do spend more time sewing, and I haven't spent as much time reading as I usually do because I like to read in the winter, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of what it's been for me. It's not affected me a lot except for being able to go. My husband and I go a lot and are never home, so that's been hard for me.
It's one of those
Yeah.
times you wish you were an introvert.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've got it made right now.
Yeah.
I know that is because I've always been social, on the go, and always organizing things since I was little. I was the organizer. Yeah,
That's
and that's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to just be kind of stuck at home when you
Yeah.
would love to go do other things.
But I can remember the times when our kids were younger, like children, but I always had, even though I have 3 children, I lots of times had 6 kids because we would invite friends, and and that's just a cinch. My house was like a tornado had gone through it, but they had fun, and that's the way I entertained them a lot. And you can't do that now,
Yeah.
so it'll be very difficult because they all fought like all sisters do. And sometimes you go, I can't stand these kids anymore.
So who in your life has kind of been an encouragement to you, maybe a source for help when you don't know what to do, and they've been a good resource for you as a mom to kind of look up to and talk to maybe about different challenges you might have?
It would be my mother. She's my example. And when I read that question, I immediately had an answer.
Yeah.
My mother.
I'm with you there too. My mom, same thing. She's a good example. She's always been, even now, she's really encouraging. When I feel like I'm failing, she's doesn't, we don't usually converse about it face to face, but she'll write me little notes or, just good reminders and cards. You're doing such a great job. I love watching you be a mom. Just simple things like that. But I'd have to say Anthony too. Like, he is really good at reminding me my purpose and that I do a great job. You did all these things. Like, he lists them off when you're having a really terrible day. Like, you've done this, you can do that. I know you're not feeling the best right now, but you can do these things. You've done this. And, he gives really good pep talks, I'll say. So those are my 2 main ones.
I feel bad because I was not that my mom isn't one of them, but actually I ask my mom all the time, especially with Evie. I'm like, Mom, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do with you when you acted like that. So, you worked out, you turned out okay. So, no, obviously my mom is one of them, but because we started having children so much later than everyone else. We had, we got married later, and then we had infertility issues. And so for us, we were like the last of our friends to get married and the last of our friends to have kids. So we had so many people to watch and to be actively involved with their children. And I can't even pick like one person because I have so many, and some of them we look at and we're like, we're not going to be like that. But a lot of them, we can go, hey, that's something really cool that we like how they have raised their children. I know Tim has a twin brother, and he and his wife have been one that we've really liked watching how they parent, and just the way that they are very intentional with their parenting. And even from like a really young age, they bring their children back to where's your heart? Who are you thinking about? Are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking about your sibling? Are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking about what you want? Are you thinking about what God wants for you? And when I first heard them, address my nieces and nephews who were like, were little at the time, I'm like, what in the world? They're so young to be, but I've seen them, now the oldest is 15, and I've seen, the young lady that she's turned into, and I'm like, oh, they're doing it right. So they've been a really good, I think, example for us. And but like I said, I have my certain friends who I know, like the potty training expert and the
Yeah.
the car seat expert, and you just get those people in your mind, and it's nice to have all different people. And I have my friend who has a strong-willed child who's a little bit older that I can call and say, what do I do? And she says, it will get better. It will get better. So, good.
Well, good. So you all have people in your life. And Rosemary, your mom, how old is Mary?
95.
95.
Yep.
She's
And
incredible.
I still call her when I'm cooking. Now, what did you
That's good to know.
Yes, and that's just amazing.
Yes.
It's just amazing. So I want to switch this for a little bit because there's going to be a lot of guys watching, all your husbands, right? And what's something you wish they knew about being a mom that you could help with guys watching going, I don't understand my wife and I don't understand some things. What would you say to them maybe to help them, or something, if you just knew this, it would be better? Because I'm certain, I frustrate my wife all the time because I don't think the way she does and I don't approach things the way she does. So what would you say about that?
Well, I feel very blessed because Tim is super hands-on as a dad. He's always jumped right in, changed diapers, gotten bottles ready, burped the kids, whatever. He's very, very good with that. I think one thing, and this is maybe marriage in general, but specifically with the kids, is the fixing, where he just wants to fix everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'll call him during the day crying and saying, I don't know what to do, they're driving me crazy, and he wants to fix it. And sometimes I don't want him to, I'm like, you can't fix it. It's just life right
Just want
now.
you to hear
Like
what I'm saying.
I just want you to hear me. I want you to validate my feelings. I want you to tell me I'm doing a good job. And then I know what to do. I know what I need to do. I don't need you to tell me. So I would say that's probably one of the big things. And then also I think I'm closest to postpartum, so it's still fresh in my mind, is just that, during pregnancy and then right after you have a child, there's so many hormones, and your body is so out of whack, and everything is just overwhelming and difficult, and just to really be hands-on and to not have to ask is the best. And when they
Yeah.
just do it, and you don't have to say hey, can you get this and then get that and then get this and then do that? And once you've got them trained well enough that they just know to do that, that's the key. Is if they know the schedule and hey, it's time for this, and they just do it, and you don't have to tell them.
Well, my husband
that's a sweet spot.
and wasn't a hands-on dad. I felt like I had to be everything, and no diapers, no bottles, no feeding, no changing.
But you're a different generation too, which was a lot different.
Yes,
than
it is. It is a different generation, quite different. And sometimes I just wanted to scream. I can't do it all, but you
Yep.
thought you had to do it all. And when you complain to your husband, he was a fixer. Men are fixers,
Yeah.
and you
We can't
can't.
change it.
Most of the things you can't fix. You
Right.
just want to be listened to.
Yep.
And then they get into the emotional thing and rant and rant. It's like, oh my God. So it's not, I like your explanation of it. My husband was a hands-on for children, and, they turned out okay. But I had to do a lot of work, and sometimes I just wanted to break, but I usually didn't get a break.
I was going to add to that too. That's one thing that Tim is really great about is the minute he comes home, he takes the kids and I get a little bit of downtime. And that is, especially at this age, I think is really,
That's needed.
so husbands, it's just,
Yes.
the
Just
tip.
walk in the door.
Yes.
Just be ready.
just be
That's a
ready,
very
take them,
fortunate
you know,
thing.
even if it's 15 minutes for me to go upstairs and like lay on my bed and just have quiet and nobody touching me, that's great. I'll take it.
Yes. Yep. You guys have kind of said what I had planned to say, like the fixing part of things. Like, I just want to tell you this. It's, I'm losing it right now, but I just got to get
And
it
it
out.
doesn't mean I don't love
It's-
my children.
Right, yeah. I gotta get it out. You're gonna have to listen. You can't fix it, but just listen to me so I can get this off my chest and not be stressed out about it anymore. There was one other thing. I'm looking, guys, because I wrote it down, and it was a common phrase. And let me see. It was. Oh, the saying a mother's work is never done. I feel like if men understood and, dads understood, a mother's work is never done, what that really meant, like, it's, as you both know, like, I think all of us kind of were at home with kids at one time and, at times feel alone and, it just never ends at times. And so having those breaks are extremely important. Just if they knew all of what, a mother has to do, it doesn't end even when they've gone to bed at night. You're
Right.
still processing things
Even
throughout
if they're
your
at the
day.
grandparents
Yeah.
for the weekend, you're
Right.
still thinking, you're still in mom mode, and it's
Yes,
hard
yeah.
to
It
shut
just
that off.
doesn't shut off very easily. So unless you have, some sort of hobby that you can do on your own, take your mind off everything, that helps. But I think that would be helpful if men understood that and like you said, like having them do something that you didn't have to ask them to help with. They've just done it already. Like that means a lot. So that's my suggestion.
All right, so those are good ones. And we are that way. We love to fix things.
But sometimes
Yeah.
It's like moms think they have to be everything
that's
and
right.
all.
Yeah. Dads think they have to fix
Dads have to
everything.
They can't do all that, and men can't always fix things.
And sometimes you have to say to your husband, I've learned I have to preface it with, I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm
Yeah.
not asking for your opinion. I'm just talking. And that way he knows in advance.
That is true.
I like that. I never knew enough to do that. I was like, wish you had told me that earlier.
Hey, we've only been in this 10 years.
Well, it's going on 51 for me.
Now, Rosemary, did you see a change as, now you have adult kids, how your husband interacts with them? Is it still fix it?
No, not. He gets concerned, and he shares his concerns with me, and neither one of us can fix it. And he doesn't now. With the grandkids, he's different with the grandkids than he was with our
Oh,
own
yeah.
kids. The grandkids can
change.
basically do anything.
Yep. Yep.
Not the kids. Not our own children. Well,
Right.
we can get by with that,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
Grandpa lets us do this, so, it is different. It is different. It's different for both of us, I guess, yeah.
Right. Okay, so last one. How does your faith in following Jesus, how's that helped you being a mom? And how have you leaned into that, maybe during hard seasons, difficult seasons? How's that work together?
Well, I think for me, it's like, again with the fixing, I don't have control of any of us. God has control. I can't fix it, I can't make it better, even though I want to. And even though I worry tremendously, I don't know why, because I know deep down I can't do anything about it. God is the one that does the fixes. And I guess that's the main thing right there. God fixes it. I don't care. I can be up all night worrying and fretting about something of one of my adult children or my grandchildren, And I'm not sure why I do that because I know I can't change it. But God is the one. I just have to have lots of faith.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll piggyback off of what you said. It's just nice having someone besides family, friends, to lean on for support. I mean, someone's always with you. Jesus is always with us. I feel like for myself, like I couldn't mother very well if I didn't have a relationship with Christ because I have questions all the time and get stressed all the time. And so I have to go to the Bible. I have to go somewhere where I can look for help and look for guidance. And it's there. It's always there. It sometimes takes a while to get there at times. Searching for certain Bible plans on my Bible app, it's super helpful. You can type in, I'm feeling anxious, so I'm going to read something about anxiety. Help me through this path of whatever it is and to get through that way. I think it's impossible to not have that relationship and do a good job mothering and parenting and without Christ. So that's what I think.
So my biggest thing is Tim and I took a class. We've actually taken 4 times. We took it twice in our Sunday school class before we had kids, just because that's what they were teaching and because everybody else had kids, and we sat through it thinking, oh yeah, this is easy. This is great. And then we took it again when Evie was a newborn. And again, I was like, man, I got all these great tools. And we took it again last year, and we were the ones the whole time with our hands raised, like, but what about this? But it was a series by Ted Tripp, which is, it's getting to the heart of parenting. And what I've learned from that, and just in parenting in general, is that my job is not to change my child's behavior. My job is to teach my child how to change their heart. And if I just go in there trying to like make them change the behavior, I can do that, but that's not helping them in the long run. It's not helping them grow closer to Christ and leading them in the way that they need to go. And one of those things I think is we have tried really hard to be very transparent with our kids and say, hey, mommy and daddy sin. Mommy and daddy need to ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry that I lost my temper with you, and I have to obey God just like you have to obey mommy. And I didn't obey God because I was angry, and I disciplined you when I was angry. And so for us, I think going back to that and just remembering that, we've got little sinners, and right now they don't have Christ, and they don't, they're learning that, and we can try our hardest to teach them to be good people, but until we work on their heart and really teach them why they need to behave that way, not just we want you to do this because we want you to do this because we like this behavior, but you need to do this because this is what the Bible says, and this is thinking about others above yourself. And and then also like I said, once we figured out that Evie could learn Bible verses pretty easily, we took that and used it to our advantage. And so we frequently quote Colossians 3:20, which is, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is pleasing to him. And she knows that. So we're able to say to her, it doesn't mean she follows it most of the time, but we're able to say to her, Evie, why are you in timeout? You're in timeout because this, and what does the Bible say? And she reluctantly will tell you, children, obey your parents. And so I guess for me, that's been like the biggest thing, is like in those moments when I'm really frustrated with the behavior, remembering that, we're working on the heart. We're not just working on the behavior. And those moments where I see her heart and I see it turning, a little bit, it's like, oh,
Yeah, those would be some of the best moments. So that's one thing I remember I wrote down, but I didn't say, was, having your kids talk about God when you've not even brought anything
Right.
up about it recently, or, it's not a subject you were just talking about, and they're asking questions. And something else you said, it reminded me of a something they were asking about yesterday, and we were talking about. But anyways, it's just really, that's a good best moment type of feeling as
Right.
well.
Yeah. Or when they, they
just
ask to
get it.
pray at night, and
Yeah.
they'll think of somebody, that we haven't necessarily talked about or thought about, and, she'll say, we need to pray for, so-and-so, and yeah, those moments that you realize, wow, it's something is getting in there, despite the way the day has been.
Right. Yeah.
Something is clicking, and and then like what you said, letting go. And I like to be in control. I like to, I've got my way of things, and knowing that I can't choose for my children for them to follow God. That I want that. I can pray for that. I can, I can teach them the word and pray that it won't come back void. But I can't choose salvation for them. That's something they will have to choose on their own. And, just praying now that they will, we try to pray as much as we can, as often as we remember to pray for their salvation, because, the thought of them not accepting that is just more than I can stand to think about. So,
Well, you have to get the basics there when they're little,
yep.
because when they get older,
Yep.
you're really
kind of
not
out.
in control. You'll find that out. Really
Yeah.
Don't
not
tell me
in
that.
control. You think you're, and I'm not diminishing what you're saying when they're little, but it's so much harder when they're older,
I bet.
because you really have no control.
And that's
it
part of the
really
thing.
is, if you teach them when they're little, it's a lot easier than when they get older and they get in trouble, and there has to be consequences.
And that's the course that we took, which I'm going to plug again, because everybody should take this course, even if your kids are older, because it goes through all the different ages. But and you can YouTube it and watch it. But Getting to the Heart of Parenting. But he talks a lot about that, like do the hard work when they're little, so that hopefully as they get older,
They'll make the
it
right
won't be
decision.
quite as hard.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I'm like, man, we're getting through the hard stuff now, so that it'll be easier later.
All three of my children are Christians, and my grandkids. One of them, a little bit of questioning. They were raised in the church, but after they've been to college, the liberal schools, it changes their mind, and then they begin to question. One of my sons was that way, and the other son, who was ornery, you wouldn't think that it would bother him. Do you know that so-and-so is an atheist? And I go, no, he's not. He says he is, and I go, no, he's not. And then, no, he wasn't, and he's, as an adult, he's turned back to Christ. So you've got to, when they're little, and
Build
instead
that
of that, and they
foundation.
may wane from that
Yeah.
first as they go through life. They may turn from that, but once you get them there, I really believe they will go back, because they've been taught the difference.
Okay, this is, you want to share anything else time? Is there anything else that you're like, Ed, you should have asked and you didn't? You could throw that in right now.
I don't
I
know.
don't know, I think it's good that have 3 different age groups, no
Yeah.
school, and adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I've been through all the things that you guys are experiencing, and, I'd say, good or bad, I'm done,
But are you
But
really?
not-
Are you
not really.
ever really done
No,
parenting?
but once a mom,
My mom would disagree.
once a mom, yeah,
She's
once-
watching my kids right
Yeah. Once a mom, you're always a mom. I don't care how old your kids are,
Yeah.
you're always a mom. And it'll be that way forever. Yep.
Well, great. Well, thank you. You guys are wonderful. Told you would. Right? It's not bad at all. So
Right.
we're going to pray for you and for all the moms out there as they continue to lead and direct in their homes. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for Tarek and Callie and Rosemary, their stories, their leaning into you in hard mom moments, and Father, for helping them and guiding them currently in the days that we're in being a mom. I thank you for that, and I am so grateful they were so willing to come today and be honest and open about their journey and their story of being a mom. And we pray for all the moms out there that you would encourage them during this time where maybe some of them are trying to figure out what to do and some of them are trying to do the best they can for their families, that you would just encourage them and help them and strengthen them. We thank you for leading us and guiding us in whatever time and season that we are in. We are so grateful for our moms and their impact and influence in our life. And we just pray you would just bless all the moms today and just encourage them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.